So this is the plan. Studio is going to be
it is red hot.
It's like we're good. Morning. Well, productive day yesterday. Well, to be fair, there's been productive days all the way to this point. It's just that, you know, when you see something more visible, you can see progress, then it feels like you've actually had a more productive day. But anyway, we've got that frame up, that's good. So now I'm going to be nailing the top plates in today. I've got to make myself some supports, some angled brackets that are going to come from the edge down sort of a 45, just to support the weight of that roof against this pillar, because these pillars are going to be holding the weight of that overhang roof in effect. And then we can start getting some ceiling joists in, and then get the roof made up. So that's going to be today's task: cladding, and hopefully manage to get into the roofing as well. But I've got a lot of cutting out to do with the cladding. My brilliant idea, not so brilliant, was to try and protect the wood sheeting from the rain. And these metal sheets got blowing about last night. The machine was covered as well, so that's blown off that. And this was all blown about. Dog was up so many times in the night to go and see what's going on. I'm knackered. I'm absolutely hanging. So apologies, neighbours. I've probably been waking you up too. I would pick one of the windiest days to do sheeting and carrying large sheet material around.
I've got my little pencil line. I'll cut that down and I hope to see that fits nicely. And now it's joining at the bottom, a little bit of an air gap there. Match at the top's pretty good. Oh, by the way, at the top here I've marked these lines, sort of lines where the centre of each of the joists are. And I've done the same down there at the bottom. So when I put the sheets up, I can slap a line and I know exactly where the joists are to nail into. No missed nails. Stopped for a coffee, which is excellent actually. While I stopped for a coffee, I've realised I've made 2 errors. Show you what I mean. When I set out the 600 centres, I started at that far corner and I measured all the way back, knowing that there was a difference at the back wall. When I've started sheeting, I've started at the back wall, which meant it's not going to line up with the pillars that I've put in at 600 centres, because it's not 600 centre from there, it's 600 centres from there. The other thing, there is, I told you there's 2. These sheets, to keep the overall height of the roof down and a reasonable pitch on the roof, what I've done is I've cut down the board. I thought I'd got accurate measurement from the edge of the OSB to where I'm cutting to, and I cut it straight across there. When I've put the board in place, I'm a few mil out, so I adjusted for it with this board, which meant I've had to cut this board down now. What a donkey. Now this one is using the original edge, so that one is definitely going to be level from this one onwards. It's only 2 sheets though, and they are going to be hidden, they are going to be clad away, but it's just frustrating. When you make silly mistakes like that, you know, you measure from one end, you should start from the end that you've measured from, not go to the other end. Hey ho, that's what you get for being a beginner. That's why I say, you know, don't trust me, I'm just some geezer on the internet with a camera. I've never done this before, I'm making it up as I go along. Might look like I've got a clue, but
what I've taken to doing is to offer up the OSB to the actual frame, draw it in where I need it cutting, so score the top, score through the window, and then I can get the exact cut that I need to line it up. Then I can bash the wall plates back in place, line them up with the edge of the OSB, and I'm good. At least that's the theory. That top plate there's ready to nail in. I'm now going to get another piece of board up, offer it up here, and scribe it in. You kind of get a bit better at handling them. He says, now not handling that very well. Oh, duds, you're in the wrong place, mate, 'cause if that falls, that's going to fall straight on you. He likes being close to the action, but bloody hell, danger dog. Bit further over. Not quite. It's got to come a little bit further. Bob on. Use my handy holder to wedge him, so I can mark the inside. Smooth him over and cut him out. As you're building with wood especially, it's never straight and it moves and it warps. So all the time I'm finding myself having to do some kind of minor adjustments or cut. Or, like the first couple of boards, I completely cock up and put the wrong thing in the wrong order. There we go then. So that's the OSB done. So that's that bit done. I am now going to get the roof joists in, and then I'm going to start building up. So this is getting interesting now. It's really rigid now that this board's in place. It's not going anywhere. Whereas before, with just the wood frame, it's really flexy. Yeah, man, ripping. All right, ceiling joists. Okay, so I've just got the wall plates are now, they're nailed in place, and I put these 45s in, which are bolted, huge, great big coach bolts, and that's then going to be supporting the, I don't know what you call it, the jut out, the extension, because there's going to be a bit of an overhang. The last joist is going to be right on the end of there, and then it's going to be an apex roof, same as the garage was. So I needed to strengthen up the ends of these, which I've just done now. I may in future, depending on how it goes, because I've got no idea about the load bearing and capabilities of this. So what I might do is in the future, I've got the ability to double up, have a huge, great big like sidewall, and that should also help a bit with the morning shading from when, because that's the sun comes up over there, goes round, south facing, sets over there somewhere. So, rafters, yes, that's the next bit. Let's get those up. Coming over there. It's just rafters rested, but I'm going to mark them up there. Do you know what? I'm struggling to string a word together, let alone a sentence at the moment. I guess that's how tiring this stuff is. Whew. Got all of the beams in place now. Just finishing off nailing them, fixing them to the wall plate. sorted. Happy with that. Bit of a access area. Beams are going to be different to the joists. The joists are going to be at 60 centres. Slightly difference. Got to work that out. I'm hoping I've got enough. I don't want to have to go back to the store and get more. 2, 4, 6, 8, 9. These should be long enough to meet in the middle. I can halve these. And then if I don't use that as the calculation for the apex, that'll work. That'll work, because I hadn't decided on how high. What I hadn't decided is what the pitch should be. If it's going to be, relatively similar or slightly less. There again, it might look odd with the garage at different angles, but it does separate it, make sure that it's known it's a separate thing. I don't know, we'll see. Decisions. I've got to say, I think I'll worry about that tomorrow. 5:45. Started at 8, so it's been a fair whack. I reckon I can get a bit more in there. Just a bit more. Do some. Yeah, we'll see. Now at the moment, I'm building out this studio, and it's been tricky, right? There's been a lot to work out, a lot to do, and a lot to think through. Actually, I was quite surprised how difficult and how challenging it is to be able to work out all of the stages. I haven't actually got a formal plan. All of my plans are in my head, so I'm working things out as I go. It probably isn't the best way of doing it, but quick recap, we've got ground screws in at the base, so we don't have a cement base. Then I've got the weed barrier in and around that. On top of those ground screws are some then very, very thick joists, floor joists. And then on top of the floor joists, we've got 18mm ply. So this is solid, it's going nowhere. This is a really solid base to build on. Then built the frame, and that's going to have some insulation on it. Outside of that, we've got some OSB fiberboard, again 18mm. I've got the roof joists in place, and today's task is to build out the rafters. So I've got to get a centre board in place, get the right height, and then get some rafters going in and up to that centre board. I'm not going to get through to have the full thing in place today, because I'm actually catching up with a mate of mine at 1 o'clock today. So I've only got a couple of hours, so I'm just going to get started. I'm hoping I can get the position for this centre board, one end and t'other, at least get the height set, so that then tomorrow, when I've got a full day, I can come back at it and actually build out the rafters. But there we go, it's looking good. So 306, that makes it 153 is my centre. 153, and bob on. Ooh, that echoes up. How we made the building the length that the joists come in. Save cutting. It's only a couple you get it away with, but we've got 1, 2, 3 for the ridge. It's nice. Fingers and thumbs. Plate in, running all the way down to the other end. Perfect. So that's stable enough at the moment. What I'm going to do now is
I'm going to detool and then go and meet my mate. So I haven't met him for flipping ages. It's going to be awesome. I think I better change my outfit. I don't know. What do you reckon? It's not really... Yeah, I'm going to go get changed, get gone. And then I'll catch you again in a bit. Now, it's a bit of an interesting part of the build this time. This is putting in place the roof joist. So what I've got to do is I've got to work out what angle they need to be at to meet up with this centerboard that I've put in place. Aim being to try and work out the angle that I need to cut each piece of wood. So what I'm going to have is, in the centre, you've got the centerboard that runs across the centre of the roof. And I'm going to have to cut the beams to match the angled pitch of the roof. So I've got to work out the angle of pitch of the roof, and the way I'm going to do that, I'm going to tie a piece of string to the centerboard down to the outside of the roof, as I should be able to hang my plumb bob over the end of this and then match up the roof line and get the angle of the roof off the bottom of this. So let's get on it and you'll see what I mean as we're going along. I want the line to sit at the top of that. I've got the string tied at the top over to the beam. Use this speed square. $30 degrees, bob on. Well, that's jolly fortuitous. Right, so this is what I've set up to cut all of the roof joists, the roof trusses. Truss, that's the word. God, I couldn't bloody remember. Each of these is going to be cut in half and then cut the angle that's going to go against the ridge board up the top in the middle. When I offer the board up to the ridge board, it's going to need to stick higher, just slightly above the ridge board, like that. And then once I've cut the bird's mouth out at the bottom, that will drop down, and hopefully those 2 points will line up nicely with the top of the ridge board. That's the plan, but I've got to work out how best to achieve that with the wood that I've got. In fact, I'd just better check that I'm going to get the distance out of that and I've got enough beams. Otherwise, I'll be a bit buggered, wouldn't I? So measure down this string, which is in effect where the trusses are going to be. Ooh, easy. That's 177. Each one I've got is 240. So where would that actually extend out to? Oh man, masses. Further than I can reach. So I'm going to have plenty to play with. The only thing is the count. Whether I've got enough to go across front to back. I don't know if I've got enough boards, but I think I'm just going to start cutting and see how we end up. I've decided that this is going to be the top. If you look down the length of the board, there is a slight bow on this board that goes like that. And if I flip it over, you'd see the underside curve. You see it's slightly bowed in as you look down it. So what I want to do is I want to make sure that the top bowed edge is on the outside of the roof. So as the weight presses on it, all those bows kind of compress together in the same way. Bit of a bugger up the first time. There's more angle then. I need to cut a sharper angle on this beam here. Put a screw in it, and then I hook the screw over the ridge beam, and it ended up holding it on the ridge beam at that same line. Then I scored a line with the ridge beam, traced it all the way around,
So now I've got the correct cutting angle to match the vertical of that ridge beam. It's bloody complicated, this roofing malarkey. So then I've spent an absolute age getting the chop saw directly on that line. Oh yes, I say. It's not bad for a beginner. I've been up and I've checked both sides. I'm happy that they line up. The reason I'm being a bit cautious about this is I've ordered the exact amount of wood. So what I don't want to do is end up buggering it up, and then I'll be stuffed. So I'd have to get some more wood ordered, and that'll be a delay. So what I want to do is try and get it done one go today. So I've measured my bird's mouth out. I've checked and checked and checked and checked so many times just to make sure it's right, because I've got a finite amount of wood. I don't really want to go back and get a load more. Now I want to be sure with the first one that I don't bugger it up, because that very first one as well is going to be the template, and it's the template for both sides. I've checked, it lines up on both sides okay. So now is the moment of truth, and we start cutting, and then take the screws out, and it should drop into place, align nicely with the top, the bottom, and then assuming that's okay, I'll crack on back then and do all the ones down the rest of the roof. Come on, bird's mouth, Joyce, super. 15 more to go. So this is the first two in place. These are just lent together. There's no fixings in place at the minute. Let's have a look at the bird's mouth. I haven't checked that yet. The bird's mouth is a bit deeper. I think it was a bit deeper than I wanted, but it's well before the max. The max is dictated by 1/3 of the depth of the board, and I'm nowhere near that. How's that one looking? Angling could be a little bit better, but I'm chuffed with that. That's all right, that is. Not bad at all. So now that I've got those two done, the idea is I'm going to use them as a template and just continue on. Cut the rest. Right. So that's all of the joists cut now. Now it's just a case of nailing them all in. So that's the one I'm going to be nailing in next. Now that I've got the water spout out the way. I'm hoping that's going to do it anyway. Be a bit of a bugger if I find it still doesn't fit. Oh, that is. That's not great. That means we've got. This one's not right. Yep. That means no wonder that was not. Actually needs to go. I haven't gone deep enough into the wood for the hip. Oh, that's jolly unfortunate. Right, need the circular saw and the saw to adjust that. I've done about as much as I'm going to do for now. It's a bit wibbly wobbly wood, and so with the wibbly wobbly wood it's become a lot of cutting, forcing stuff around and just reworking. I've got to say, I don't think I'd want to be a roofer. It's hard work. You've got to do a load of calculations, and then you've got to carry a load of timber and re-roof everything. Tricky, man, tricky, but there's a couple I've had to take out and re-put in to accommodate. You can see here a bit of where the ring nails are so strong, they pretty much destroy the end of the wood that they've been in. So yeah, that's kind of good and a bad thing. If you make a mistake and you're trying to undo it, it's not going to happen. But they're in. I'm chuffed with them. There's a bit of wiggly waggly I've got to do down the bottom, and then nail that one board in. Then I've got these two trusses, sets of trusses left. So at the moment, the long ones you can see are set up for like a board. So we've got 120 span on these, but then, as I say, in between these, there's going to be a Velux window. I do have to get one more beam because I'm just one short for to keep up with the 600 centres. So I've got to get another one of those pieces of timber, get that cut up then, and then make the last truss or pair of trusses. But it's coming on, it's coming on, coming on. I'm chuffed, 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 chuffed. It's a great view from up here. I can see countryside over the back and fields and all sorts. It's lovely. I'll show you one day, once I'm going to the last bit. So if you want to see that, click on that subscribe button. And if you click on that bell, you'll be notified the next time I release a video. But for now, my name's Rich, and this is It's Adventure. I'll see you again very soon. That's lush, man.